Dementia and its relationship with vascular damage. A Quantitative Perspective, number 1369, VMT Sharp 710, September 27, 2025. Gerald C. EclaireMD Foundation. Category: Neuroscience and Brain. Mission Statement: I write these medical papers not for fame or recognition, since I have already lived a long and successful life, though not always a healthy one. My purpose now is to share what I have learned about health, disease, and medicine, so that others can better understand their own conditions, prevent illness, and live longer, healthier lives. Preface: For many years, my understanding of dementia was limited to surface-level medical knowledge. I knew the names and symptoms, but had not connected them with my broader research journey. That changed after my hemorrhagic stroke in June 2025. This event forced me to revisit my 16 years of longitudinal health data with new lens and urgency. Between 1977 and 2010, I lived through obesity, type 2 diabetes, hypertension, dyslipidemia, 5 cardiovascular episodes, neuropathy, including foot ulcer, retinopathy, and chronic kidney disease. By 2010, I realized the dangers and adopted strict lifestyle control, abandoning all medications and focusing on diet, walking, sleep, and stress management. Since then, I have collected more than 4 million data points, which now form the backbone of my Dementia MD other subjects research. When I looked at Alzheimer's and Parkinson's through this deeper lens, one theme stood out: progressive damage to blood vessels. Dementia is not just about the brain, it is about systemic vascular health. Understanding dementia. Alzheimer's disease is the most common cause of dementia. It usually shows up first as memory loss, confusion, and, over time, the gradual loss of independence in daily life. The problem comes from two abnormal proteins, amyloid, which clumps outside brain cells, and tau, which tangles up inside them. Together, they block communication between nerve cells and slowly shut down brain function. Parkinson's disease is the second most common cause of dementia, but it starts in a very different way. Instead of memory loss, the first signs are movement problems, shaking hands, tremor, stiff muscles, slower walking, and poor balance. The key issue is the loss of brain cells in a small region called the substantia nigra, which normally makes dopamine, a chemical that helps control smooth movement. At the same time, another protein called alpha-synuclein piles up inside cells, forming clumps called Lewy bodies that act like trash heaps, clogging the cells and speeding up their death. Although the symptoms differ, both AD and PD share a crucial hidden driver: vascular damage. Without healthy blood vessels, brain cells lose oxygen, nutrients, and the ability to clear toxic proteins. Dementia is not simply a disease of the brain, it is a disease of the vessels that feed it. Global burden of dementia. United States, Alzheimer's ranks 6th overall, 5th among older adults, with more than 120,000 deaths per year. Parkinson's affects approximately 1 million Americans, projected to reach 1.5 million by 2030. United Kingdom, dementia is now the #1 cause of death, surpassing heart disease. Parkinson's affects more than 145,000 people and is rising steadily. Japan, AD ranks 4th in mortality, with nearly 5 million cases projected by 2025. Parkinson's affects over 200,000, expected to double by 2040. Taiwan, dementia has risen into the top 10 causes of death, with both AD and PD increasing rapidly in prevalence and disability burden. These statistics reveal dementia not as an individual misfortune, but as a global crisis, driven by aging populations and rising chronic disease burdens. Vascular damage, the common pathway. Although age and protein abnormalities remain important, vascular injury links both Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. Reduced blood flow, stiff or narrowed arteries limit cerebral circulation. Small vessel blockages, silent stroke starve brain regions, accelerating neuronal death. Blood-brain barrier leaks, weaken barriers, let harmful molecules and inflammation penetrate. Impaired clearance, when blood vessels are damaged, they can no longer clear away harmful proteins like amyloid or alpha-synuclein, allowing these toxic substances to pile up more quickly in the brain. Shared risk factors: hypertension, diabetes, obesity, high pulse pressure, poor sleep. Thus, dementia is best understood not as isolated brain disorders, but as vascular metabolic syndromes with neurological outcomes. 5 key modifiable risk factors. Alzheimer's disease, AD. For AD, I selected 5 measurable biomarkers and lifestyle factors that shape vascular and brain health. 1. Fasting plasma glucose, FPG, 30%. Chronic hyperglycemia damages small vessels, increases oxidative stress, and promotes amyloid accumulation. 2. Pulse pressure, PP, 25%, a measure of arterial stiffness. Higher PP worsens cerebral microvascular injury. 3. Sleep, 15%. Deep sleep is essential for clearing beta amyloid. Poor sleep accelerates protein buildup. 4. Cardiovascular disease, CVD, risk, 15%, integrates blood pressure, lipids, and calcification, reflecting overall vascular burden. 5. Visceral fat percent, VF%, 15%, central obesity drives, systemic inflammation and insulin resistance. AD index equation. The AD index equals 100 times the whole quantity of FPG over 90 times 0.3, plus PP over 40 times 0.25, plus sleep over 1 times 0.15, plus CVD over 0.6 times 0.15. Then, add VF% over 13 times 0.15 to that total. Parkinson's disease, PD. For PD, the 5 most relevant and modifiable risk factors differ. 1. Health age, 30%, biological health age, based on 10 metabolism-related biomarkers, is a stronger predictor than calendar age. 2. Pulse pressure, PP, 20%, stiffened arteries, reduce blood flow to the basal ganglia, accelerating dopamine cell loss. 3. Fasting plasma glucose, FPG, 15%, high glucose injures vessels and increases alpha-synuclein stress. 4. Sleep score, 20%, deep, restorative sleep clears toxic proteins such as Lewy bodies, poor sleep speeds progression. 5. Walking steps, 15%, daily walking preserves vascular function, step decline, often signals early PD risk. PD index equation. The PD index equals 100 times the quantity of 0.3 times health age over 70, plus 0.2 times PP over 40, plus 0.15 times FPG over 90, plus 0.2 times sleep over 0.6, plus 0.15 times 12,000 over steps. Overlap and differences shared inputs, 3/5, FPG, PP, sleep, AD specific, CVD risk, visceral fat percent, PD specific, health age, walking steps. This means the two models are 60% similar but 40% different, reflecting the fact that while both Alzheimer's and Parkinson's share vascular and metabolic roots, each has distinct pathways of risk and progression. Quantitative results, from 2010 to 2025. Alzheimer's disease, AD index. AD index dropped from 155.9 in 2010 to 90.7 in 2025, a 42% reduction. Strongest improvements, FPG, 220, 87, correlation 0.99, CVD risk, 0.99, 0.40, sleep, 1.07, 0.45, VF%, 17.3%, 12%. PP rose with age, 35, 49.7, but other gains outweighed its effect. Energy contributions, FPG 28.5%, CVD 21.6%, VF% 18.6%, pages 16.2%, sleep 15.1%. Parkinson's disease, PD index. PD index exceeded 165, from 2010 to 2013, dropped to approximately 95 by 2016, and stabilized around 91-96 in recent years. Key drivers, FPG fell from 220. 87, steps rose from approximately 5,000, 15,000, later fell after stroke. Health age, dropped by approximately 8 years, sleep modestly improved. Energy contributions, FPG 25.3%, steps, 23.5%, sleep 21.4%, health age 15.4%, pages 14.5%. Interpretation, cause-effect reasoning, high glucose, vessel damage, faster, neuron loss, both memory cells in AD and dopamine cells in PD. High PP, stiff arteries, reduced blood flow, brain tissue more fragile. Poor sleep, toxic proteins accumulate, amyloid in AD, Lewy bodies in PD. Low walking steps, weaker circulation early marker of decline. Particularly relevant in PD. High health age, CVD risk, integrates multiple risk factors, reflecting systemic vascular aging. Together, these results show that dementia risk is not random, but follows measurable pathways of stress and strain. Personal reflection. Over the past 35 years, I have lived with nearly every chronic disease. Except cancer and dementia, my early decades of neglect left deep, vascular footprints that can never be erased, yet since 2010, strict lifestyle management has stabilized my health and cut both AD and PD risk nearly in half. My stroke in 2025 served as a wake-up call. It reminded me that while past damage cannot be undone, future decline can still be slowed. Dementia prevention is not about waiting for new drugs. It is about daily management of weight, fat, glucose, blood pressure, sleep, and activity, such as daily walking. Conclusion: dementia, whether Alzheimer's or Parkinson's, is not only a disease of aging or abnormal proteins, it is the long-term outcome of vascular damages and metabolic stress. My 16-year viscoplastic energy analyses show that 5 measurable risk factors define the trajectory of brain health. Glucose and vascular burden dominate, but fat, sleep, and activity all play decisive roles. The majority of my dementia risk was established during the first 20 years of mismanagement, while the following 16 years of disciplined lifestyle management helped slow its progression. The path forward is clear: protect your blood vessels, control glucose, maintain a healthy weight, get good sleep, reduce emotional stress, and keep walking. Dementia is not inevitable, it can be prevented, measured, and managed through disciplined lifestyle choices. Additional opinion from the author. From my own research and experience, I see that vessel health and toxic protein buildup in the brain are inseparable. Neurons depend on steady oxygen and nutrient flow, and once vessels become stiffened or narrowed, both supply and waste clearance fail. During deep sleep, the glymphatic system should flush out toxins, but this process also depends on healthy vascular pulsation. When vessels are damaged, toxic proteins like amyloid and tau accumulate more easily. In my view, dementia is not only about abnormal protein buildup, it is equally the story of vascular failure. This is why I focus on blood pressure, vessel stiffness, and metabolic stress as the true roots of Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. Disclaimer: this content is for educational reference only and not medical advice. No doctor-patient relationship is created. You may share this summary freely, but it must not be edited or republished as your own. All intellectual property rights and copyrights for this article and its related materials belong to the author, Gerald C. Shu.